Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the C Block, or the final section of Cannabis Coast to Coast. I'm Alaina Pinto. Another reminder, if you want to follow Cannabis Coast to Coast, just download our free app, PCM TV, and the weekly report will always be posted there at 9 a.m. Eastern Time on Mondays. We also have a QR code that takes you right to the App Store or Google Play, where you can get your free download. Next up, what's going on in Washington, D.C., where most of the action is on the campaign trail, but the DEA has set its date for that administrative hearing, and it's on December 2nd. So yes, a month after the presidential election. With more on that, our nation's Capitol correspondent takes a look at the backlash by former President Trump on his wavering support for federal reform and his method of using that issue to fit his own narrative. Here's Andrew Behringer.
I'm Andrew Behringer with the Washington, D.C. report for Cannabis Coast to Coast News. We start with our main story at the intersection of politics and cannabis reform as the November elections approach. Bipartisan skepticism surrounds former President Donald Trump's recent declared support for cannabis reform. Lawmakers from both sides of the aisle are questioning the sincerity of his claims, with Representative AOC and Representative Andy Harris sharing doubts regarding Trump's sudden pivot on the issue. During interviews on Capitol Hill, AOC dismissed Trump's comments as merely campaign talk, while Harris echoed her sentiments, suggesting that the former president's position may be politically motivated rather than genuine. Now, some see a glimmer of opportunity for bipartisan unity, especially as polling indicates strong voter support for cannabis legalization, especially in key swing states. Now, in a related story, newly discovered recordings of former President Richard Nixon reveal a striking contradiction to his administration's hardline stance on drugs. In a March 1973 meeting, Nixon acknowledged that cannabis is not particularly dangerous. His comments come at a time when the federal government is reassessing cannabis status as a Schedule I drug. Next public hearing is scheduled for December 2nd to discuss this potential rescheduling, just after the upcoming presidential election. The political stakes are high as the future of cannabis industry remains intertwined with political maneuvering. It's obvious that if we don't learn from the past, we may be doomed to repeat it. Stay tuned for more updates as we continue to follow this story. That's the Washington, D.C. report. I'm Andrew Behringer, reporting for Cannabis Coast to Coast News.
When former President Donald Trump mentioned this week that he was supporting decriminalization and safer banking, the stock market exploded. Here's our man in stocks, Doug Miller, who is high on Wall Street.
I'm Doug Miller from High on Wall Street with this week's Cannabis Stock Report for Cannabis Coast to Coast. Cannabis multi-state operator Green Thumb Industries closed a $150 million 5-year syndicated credit facility led by Valley National Bank. According to Green Thumb Industries, the oversubscribed non-brokered offering is the first bank-only financing of its kind in the regulated U.S. marijuana industry. They plan to use the proceeds of the credit facility and existing cash to retire $225 million in senior secured debt due April 30th, 2025. The notes have a maturity date of September 11th, 2029. Green Thumb Industries reported annual revenue of $1.05 billion and a gross profit of $528.05 million in February. Let's see how the stock chart is looking. It trades under the stock ticker GTBIF, and it's trading around $10.33. It appears to be curling up, but watch for dips and trade smart. And that's this week's Cannabis Stock Report. Reporting for Cannabis Coast to Coast, I'm Doug Miller.
We've been covering the battle over adult use in Florida, and question 3 on the ballot there that will open the door for adult use in Florida. And over $70 million has been spent in the media campaign, and MSO True Leave is leading the charge. since they have 155 dispensaries in that medical-only state with over 800,000 registered patients. Now let's check in with what is going on in Florida with Jeff Aker, our master gardener.
Hi, I'm Jeff Aker, your master gardener from Florida with your Florida report for Cannabis Coast to Coast News. Got three things. Well, let's talk cannabis. Got three things I want to go over today from Florida that's happened this week. The first thing is Donald Trump has said he was going to sign Amendment 3. He is a Florida resident, so he's going to, when he votes, he's going to sign yes on Amendment 3, which we all should. But this in tune might be his ease and stance might transition over to the federal when and if he gets elected. So that's very, very good news for Florida that Donald Trump is, because Florida is pretty heavy Donald Trump. Secondly, I want to talk about Ron DeSantis. Ron DeSantis has come out with a new not like. His new not like is a monopoly that it might cause by implementation of 3. Well, the monopoly is kind of true in a way, because there is 20 different companies that distribute medical cannabis in Florida. With them, there's about 600 dispensaries that distribute that cannabis. But the way he could get around that would be maybe to give us home grow, which I think that would be beneficial. The cannabis companies don't want that because that would cut into their sales, but he could implement that. Social equity licensing, which a lot of other states have done. So he's got some avenues he could go down. Also, he's constantly complains about the smell. Well, in life, there's things you don't like the smell of. I don't like the smell of gas when I'm pumping gas for my car. I don't like the smell of a diaper when I'm changing a diaper. There's things I don't like the smell of too, but I've learned to live with them. The last thing I want to talk about is Florida leads the country in fentanyl deaths. So you don't know black market what it might be cross-contaminated with. There was 6,000 fentanyl deaths in Florida last year. We never know what your black market has been, maybe cross where it came from, what else might be in the room, because if fentanyl's in the room with cannabis, it infects it. So let's make it safe. Let's try to do an end to black market and get it safe. This is Jeff Aker reporting from Florida with your Coast to Coast Cannabis News.
It's Kevin Shakir, aka the Shake Man, and I am reporting for Arkansas, the natural state, right here on Cannabis Coast to Coast News. We've got some excitement, folks, going on. That's right. We had 77,000 signatures that were validated from last month. That's right. July to August was 77,000 votes. We actually turned in over 90,000 votes, and only 77 actually were validated by the Attorney General. So what we did is the Attorney General gave us 30 more days in August. That's right. We had the whole month of August. We gathered up 39,000 plus signatures, and those are validated. And so we are going to be able to put the amendment for adult use and also for patient grow on the ballot for November 5th. It's a done deal. Now we need everybody right here in the state of Arkansas to get out and do the due diligence, vote, work hard. That's right. It's not over till it's over. The fat lady has not sang yet. She's still warming up, but we have November 5th. We want everybody to be a part of this. So make sure that you tell all your friends, all your neighbors, anybody that this concerns, that you need to get out and vote. That's right. That's what we're going to do. The amendment adds a lot to what we need right here in Arkansas. For one, it extends the Arkansas licensing from 1 year to 3 years. You can have up to 7 plants. that are full, mature, and 7 little ones. So those are the things that are coming for you right here. But we need you to do the most important thing: get out and vote November 5th. This is Kevin Shakir, aka the Shake Man, from the natural state, Arkansas, right here on Cannabis Coast to Coast News. And now back to the news with Alaina Pinto.
And finally tonight, the case of Edwin Rubis in California.
That I have gone through is losing my family, losing my children, losing my ex-wife. And, I think that's what hurt the most. And specifically, and it's still hurting now because one of my sons, about to be 25 years old, is currently homeless. And he doesn't want anyone to help him because of his mental issues. And he's been jailed twice. And my hands are tied. There's nothing I can do. I cannot go out there and go look for him and try to help him. And the irony is that I know all these things that I've learned here behind prison walls, how to counsel people, how to mentor people. And I can't even mentor my son, which is out there in the streets, homeless and without direction, without anyone basically giving him a hand to say, hey, this is what you can do to get out of it. So the only thing available now, or the only thing that I can look forward to, is clemency from President Biden. President Biden, look at my case. Demonstrate mercy and empathy. My case deserves a second chance. My life deserves a second chance. My family deserves a second chance. Please be merciful unto me. I am really ashamed of my past crimes. I really regret my criminal behavior. I feel very remorseful about the things and the choices that I made to hurt other people, to hurt myself. Give me an opportunity to be able to change my life from the way it was to the way it can be as a contributing member of society.
He's a convicted nonviolent cannabis prisoner serving a 40-year sentence in the Los Angeles, California area. Edwin has served 27 of those years in prison, and during that time, he's earned multiple college degrees, including a master's in Christian counseling. One of the biggest media personalities and growers in California is Bill and Jeff Levers. Their brand is the Beard Brothers, and now they're using their media influence to tell Edwin's story and appeal to President Joe Biden to commute his sentence. At next week's Hall of Flowers show and grow competition, the Beard Brothers named the presentation stage after him in order to gain even more attention to this movement. If released, Edwin wants to be a guidance counselor, life coach, and he'll probably write a book. You can help by submitting your own 10-second video and submit it with the simple message, Free Edwin Rubis. Go to beardbrosfarms.com. The link is below for easy copy and paste, or you can contact freedomgrowforever88@gmail.com. So, on behalf of Pro Cannabis Media and our Cannabis Coast to Coast News team, I'm Alaina Pinto. Please free Edwin Rubis. That will do it for this week's Cannabis Coast to Coast News. And remember, it's a whole new world of weed out there. Use it responsibly. The show will be released on our PCMTV app and website procannabismedia.com on Monday, 16th at 9 a.m. We'll see you next time.
We are Pro Cannabis Media.